This is the video for square 28 of the Rosy Outlook crochet along. So here I have chained 40, and the first step is to put 3 double crochets in the 5th chain from the hook. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oops. So 3 double crochets all in the same chain. Okay. And then next we're going to skip 2 chains, 1, 2, and then we are going to put another 3 double crochets. We're not chaining in between these 3 doubles or anything like that. It's just simply skipping the 2 chains and adding 3. And we're going to do this all the way across. So skip 2 and then 3 double crochets, making kind of a small shell. All right, and so that's what you're going to have, and just keep doing this all the way across. Skip 2 chains, and then do 3 double crochets in the next chain, and then I will see you at the end. So when we get to the end, we're going to have 2 chains left, and we're just going to put 1 double crochet in the last chain. So skip the next chain and just put a double in the last one. And that's what you should have all the way across. You have your chain in the beginning that represents the double, and then all the little shells, and then the double at the end. So we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3, and turn. And we're going to skip this next double and the one after, and work into this 4th double. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're going to do 1 double crochet. And then we're going to chain 1. And instead of moving forward, we're going to move backwards. We're going to skip this double crochet that's right next to where we just went into. And we're going to go into this one here. So you see, we're skipping that one. We're going into that one. And you just go in, and you don't want to work around everything. Oops. So you're not coming out the back. You're going to go in and pull up those loops. So you're coming in front of that double crochet we just made. And then you're just going to work a double crochet. So what you end up with is this crisscross. It's kind of hard to see right now, but you'll see it shortly. You'll be able to see as we go farther along. And so after we do our crisscross, we're just going to skip the next 2 double crochets and put another double crochet in, and then chain 1. And we're going to do that crisscross again. So skipping where we just put the double, skipping the one right next to it, going into the one after that. And then skip 2 and double crochet in the 3rd, and chain 1, and go back 2. So skip where we put the double, skip the one right before it. I'm going to go into the one right there before that one. So let's spread this out and take a look here. All right. It's kind of hard to show you on camera, but you've got the one going behind and the one going in front. And if you look, we are working those X's on our fans. So we skipped the first two doubles of our fan, or shell, if you will. And we went in and did that first double in the very last double of the shell. Then we went back and skipped the middle double of the shell, and we went into the first one of the shell. And so it creates kind of this cute little crisscross going on. So we're going to do that all the way across. I'll do a couple more with you, and then I'll meet you at the end, okay? So skip 2, go into that third, chain 1, skip the one behind, and go into that next one. And skip 2, go into the third, chain 1, and then go back to, oops, try to get it to where you guys can kind of see. And remember, we're not going around everything. We're not going around that double crochet we just made. We're just scooping up the 2 threads that we would anyways when making a double crochet, and that is all. So, and let me show you the back here. The back is exactly the same. That double crochet, that first double crochet we make, just crisscrosses. So there you go. Go ahead, keep doing that. Don't overthink it. I promise it is not that hard. And then I'll meet you at the end. All right, so here we are. We're at the end. We've got our last shell and the turning chain from before. So we're going to skip those 2 double crochets and go into that third one, just like we did on all the rest, and chain 1 and cross back over, just like we did on all the other ones. And then we're just going to double crochet into the top of the turning chain there. And mine got pulled, so I have to wiggle my hook in there. Sometimes it's really good to do the starting chains in a bigger hook. So, and there you have it. That's row 2. And these become a lot more defined here in this next row. So for row 3, we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And turn. And this counts as a double crochet in a chain 1. And we're going to skip the first double where our chain 3 came out of. And we're going to work a 3 double crochet cluster across the next 3 stitches. And I know that sounds crazy, but it's really not. So if you recall, our 3 double crochet cluster is doing half a double crochet 3 times in 1 stitch and then pulling through all, right? So we're going to do that same thing, except instead of going into the same stitch each time, we're going to switch it up. So yarn over, go into that first double crochet, yarn over, go through 2 loops, yarn over, and then we're going to go in between where that chain 1 was. We're going to go in between there, and we're going to pull up a loop and then pull up and pull through 2, And that's 2 of our double crochet cluster pieces made. So we're going to do 1 more, yarn over, and then we're going to go into that 3rd leg or arm of the X that we made in the row below. And then we're going to pull through 2, and then you should have 4 loops, and you're going to pull through all of them. And so we just made our cluster across the 3, and it's basically a double crochet 3 together. The book writes these things slightly differently than what we're used to now, and I haven't checked the publishing date on it, and I don't know if this is a kind of an older way of explaining it, or if it's just how this person learned. I'm not sure, but I've tried to stay true to her book. But it's basically a double crochet 3 together. Okay, so we're going to do that again here. Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped a step. So we've done our 3 double crochet cluster here, and then we're going to chain 2, and then we're going to do it again across the next cross stitch. So just same as we did before, into the first double, into the chain 1 space, and into the next double, and then pull through all, and then chain 2, and then we do it all over again. All right, so do that all the way across, and I'll meet you at the end. So here we are. I've gone all the way across. I've done my last little cluster stitch, and then I'm going to chain 1, and then I'm going to double crochet into the top of the chain 3 turning chain from below. All right, and that's what you should have. So that's rows 1, 2, and 3. So next row, chain 4, or sorry, row 4, we're going to chain 3. Row 4, chain 3. And then we are going to skip. This is another X stitch row, just like row 2, but I'm going to show you where we're placing our little stitches here, but this should go fast. So we're going to skip that first double crochet. We're going to skip the chain and the cluster, and then we're going to double crochet next to the cluster. So right in that big old space, that chain 2 space, double crochet, and then chain 1, and then we're going to go back and we're going to do our double in that big old chain space. It's a chain 1, so it's a little bit smaller than our chain 2, but we're just going to do it in that space. And then same thing, we're going to skip the first chain space, skip the cluster, and go into the nice big hole there, and chain 1, and go into that last chain space that we skipped. Oops, everything's getting all tangled up. Sometimes you have to just manipulate it so you can get your hook through. All right, and then skip the first chain space there, skip the cluster, and go into that next chain space. Do a double crochet, and then chain 1, and then go into that last chain space. So do that all the way across, and it's just the same stitch as row 2, but instead of having to go into double crochets, we're just going into the chain spaces, okay? And I will meet you at the end. So here we are at the end, and I'm just going to double crochet in the third chain, because remember we did a chain 4. We're just going to do it in the third one. So 1, 2, 3, because that counted as a double crochet and a chain 1. So there you go. So that's the end of row 4. Now row 5, we're going to chain 3 again. 1, 2, 3, and we're going to turn, and then we're going to put 3 double crochets in the middle of that X that we made. So we made that crisscross there. We're going right in the middle in the chain 1 space, doing 3 double crochets. And then we're going to skip those double crochets and then go right in that middle of that X again and put 3 double crochets. And that is all we are doing in this row, is just putting 3 double crochets into the chain 1 space in the middle of the X's. So you're going to do that all the way across, and then you're just going to put a double crochet in the top of our chain 3 from the previous row. And that's the end of our repeats. So you're going to do rows 2 through 5 until you get to 17 rows, and then you're going to put your single crochet border around it. As always, if you have questions, just let me know. Thanks, guys.